Hi there, I'm John Spade. This is the Egg for Saturday, September the 18th. And boy, I've got some stuff to talk about today. It's all about conspiracies. It's all about the media. It's all about corruption. What got me thinking about it was basically social media. And yesterday, first thing in the morning, I'm reading that Pat Burns has died. Now, for those people who are stateside or elsewhere in the world that might be tuning in, Pat Burns is a famous NHL coach, kind of a Canadian icon, and also known for his rather courageous battle with cancer that he's been going through for the last decade or so. Anyways, when I saw the story drop on Twitter and Facebook, my immediate instinct, rather than replying to it, was to go and Google and just to sort of see, because I was curious. I got a hit. I got a few hits. Top of the page. Sure enough, Pat Burns has passed away. Most notably, the Montreal Gazette ran it as a headline. And now kudos to the Calgary Herald. I didn't see that run all day, so somebody showed a little bit of restraint before the story ran. Pat Burns actually had to call in and say, hey guys, I hate to disappoint you, but I'm still here. What really got me thinking about everything to do with the media and the press, I was just wondering, how can a story like this run in what is considered a very legitimate news source in Canada? And if they can let something like that run, how far does it go? And how sloppy can they be before there's accountability? Is journalistic integrity gone? I'm really starting to question. What does it take? You know, are journalists not making enough money these days that they can be this sloppy? I wonder about a journalist who goes to Twitter, sees this byline, and rather than doing a little bit of fucking research, drops a story, and his editor goes, oh, really? Pat Burns is dead. Well, let's run with that story. I don't know. Newspapers make mistakes. We know media makes mistakes. It happens. It seems that there's more frequency these days. Anyways, most of us out there who are hockey fans are pretty happy that Pat Burns is still with us, and hopefully he's got a lot of fight left in him. So, sticking with the theme, I'm moving. This is going to be local here in Calgary. We have a mayoral race going on right now, and guys are starting to drop out. You know, I think they're realizing that their chances are pretty slim. One of these gentlemen's name's Alnur Kassam. Now, he ran in the last election and was runner-up. So he did pretty good considering that he pretty much bankrolled the whole thing on his own dime. He's a multi-millionaire, so he's doing pretty well for himself. This time around, I think, probably saw the writing was on the wall. So here's what's interesting about this guy. Before he pulls out and goes to the paper and says, hey, I'm done, he goes and shops his endorsement around to two other candidates who basically flat out said, no, we probably know you and we don't want anything to do with this. Now, I don't want to say anything slanderous about Alnur. I don't know the guy personally. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. Now, when I hear this guy speak, and, you know, when I saw him in the last election, I don't trust him. That's my personal gut instinct saying this guy is not a straight shooter. I'm allowed to have that personal opinion. So then to see this come up, there wasn't really any surprise. What's kind of unfortunate about it, and this could be for better or worse, he shopped it out, he was shut down, and then all of a sudden he comes and says, I'm putting all my eggs in to helping Barb Higgins get elected as mayor. Barb Higgins is a journalist. She's a news anchor, has been for many, many years. Does it qualify her to be a mayor? I don't think so. Now, there's two sides to this, because there's a part of me that believes that maybe it's good to bring somebody in who doesn't have a lot of experience, who doesn't have blinders on, who maybe isn't skewed towards, you know, an industry that sort of has had itself firmly entrenched in the political process here in Calgary. And of course, I'm talking about I'm tripping all over my tongue today. Big oil and gas. I don't know. It's hard to say. You know what they say about power? It corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. I really believe that. Now, maybe Barb didn't have a conversation with Elnor. We'll never know. But it seems strange that he was shopping, and then all of a sudden he's going to say, well, you know what? These guys don't, they're not going to play. They're not going to make me city manager, because this is what he's asking for. He wants to be city manager here in Calgary. And for that, he'll give you his vote, and he'll put all his resources behind you. Now, does anybody else see a problem with this? The guy's got a lot of money. What does he have to gain by trying to buy political favor to get a position as a city manager? It can't be for the salary, because he's already a multimillionaire, and he's got his own holdings in real estate developments to sort of, you know, watch over. But that's politics, I guess. For better or worse, Barb Higgins has now been endorsed by this guy. She says they've never had a conversation. Unfortunately, and maybe this is a master plan by Elnor, who knows? Maybe he doesn't want her in, and he's sort of, you know, politically sabotaged her. I don't think so. But again, I'm not going to get into conjecture, because conjecture can get you into a lot of trouble. So I'll leave that more on the conspiracy end of things, and people can think I'm nutty, and I'm okay with that. That's out of the way. Where I'm going for my final segment of the show is a man by the name of John Kelly. I put the link up on yesterday's egg, and this is really important stuff. I think it's really important stuff. What got me onto it was, you know, I love a good ruse. A good conspiracy can really, you know, it gives me energy. I have a lot of fun with it. And that's just that's my nature, right? Devious nature that I am, that I have, and who I'll always be, I guess. So here we are. We've got a gentleman here who he belongs to a community association here in Calgary, and you're thinking, oh, big deal. It's a community association. Well, there's a lot of money involved. Community associations are like businesses, and some of them are big. I mean, we're talking millions of dollars filtered through what they can do, the kind of power they have, the abilities they have. Anyways, this guy, he gets on the board, I believe, as a treasurer, and starts doing a little digging. And he realizes there's discrepancies. So what does he do? He goes to the board and says, hey, you know what? I wouldn't mind getting my hands on past financials. His answer, in turn, from the board was, bye-bye. They basically kicked him out. And being who he is, he said, wait a minute. I'm asking questions and you guys are getting rid of me? Well, guess what? I'm going to dig deeper. The result of that was they kicked him out of the community association. They kicked his wife out. They kicked his kids out. And basically, they've been trying to squash him at every turn. He went to the police because he really feels there's been some wrongdoing. And the police came back and said, we don't think there's anything going on here. So now, at this point in time, he's being charged. Now, I've been on the website. I've checked everything out. I'm trying to figure out where they're getting the idea that he's interfering with an act of homicide. I do see where there might be grounds for two police officers to say, you know what, we're going to take you to court civilly because you've defamed our character. That to me makes sense. Because maybe he has spoken out of turn. But what they're doing now, they've got the RCMP involved. They're trying to shut down his website. They're trying to basically squash everything. And I'm looking at it from both sides. I really, you know, because I try to stay as objective as I can. I'm not, you know, I'm not a journalist per se. I'm just a guy with an opinion. I still have a duty to look for all the information and to see both sides of this, you know, the story. So I'm looking at both sides and I'm trying to figure out what the motivation of John Kelly is. Why would he put himself out there? Why would he let himself, I mean, he was warned. Cease and desist, or, you know, shit's going to hit the fan. And now it has. He's gone to court. It's going to cost him a lot of money. Potentially, his life could be ruined. He's only 53 years old, so he's a young guy. He's going ahead. And you have to ask yourself why. You also have to ask yourself why this community association isn't forthright with just, you know what? bring the information out. It's a freedom of information is there. We have a right to see it. If there's wrongdoing, you know, forensics are going to show that. For whatever reason, and I'm thinking that the hole is pretty big and pretty deep, and maybe there's people involved in it that have enough power and influence to cause what I'm seeing here. We have a police officer that he's never seen anything like this in his career. 29 years, he's never seen anybody charged under the Freedom of Information or the Freedom of Speech Act, where they basically said, you know what, you've overstepped your rights in regards to freedom of speech. He's gone too far. This all ties in with the newspaper and media and how it's controlled, and how I really believe that the information that we're given, there's definitely, you know, we don't get it all. There's a filter on it. And there are people that can control what goes out and you know, what we have access to. Online newspapers, most of them now have comment areas at the bottom of the articles. And I've noticed, especially when it comes to politics, they're very indiscriminate about where they'll put those boxes at the bottom for you to leave a comment. And there are certain times where you're not going to get to have your say. And this is one of those instances where the John Kelly story, every instance, I think there's been 3 stories that have run in the paper, and you can't leave a comment on either one of them. And of course, John Kelly also was instructed once he made bail that he is not allowed to add to the website any further. No further information. If the RCMP could have the site pulled, they would. So basically, they're really trying to control the story and keep it down. And I can't help thinking, because it's a conspiracist. I'm going to have to look that up and get back to you. Of course, because I don't script this or anything, I'm going to make mistakes here and there. I admit it. I really think there's more to the story than we're seeing. I think this guy's being railroaded, and there's a reason for it. We may never find out, because unfortunately, the pressure's been put on. He's facing some pretty serious allegations, and nobody's talking, and the community association sure isn't coming forward. And I'll tell you, if I belonged to that community association, I'd want to know the answers too. And maybe he needs a few people around there to sort of come in and you know, get his back and start asking the right questions. Then again, the guy could just be a total nut job, and he's got nothing better to do with his time. We'll never know. Possibly. That's kind of where I wanted to go today. I don't think I have anything else. I know there was something else in the back of my mind as speaking. Oh, I know what it was. As a finish, and this is probably why it just came to my mind. There's a little part of me that's thinking, I'm a pretty decent writer. I have a way of getting my thoughts on the page where it's understood. And sometimes when I'm speaking, because I'm trying to think at the same time as it's coming out of my lips, I'm not always eloquent with my words. And I do make errors. But I want to stick to the spirit of this, where I'm not going to repeat things. I'm not going to go back and edit. I'm not going to redo it. I just want it to be one take to get all my ideas and all my thoughts out, as if I'm having a conversation with you. It came to my mind that maybe it wouldn't hurt if I did script the show and sort of rewrite it all, and then potentially be reading off the screen as I'm doing it. That makes me nervous. I don't know if it would be in the best spirit, and I don't know if I would have the same passion. So it's something I'm thinking about. I'd love to hear your feedback. If you like the format the way it is right now, or maybe you'd like to be, see, I'm tripping over my words. Maybe I do need to be scripted. I don't know what would work better. Feedback would be awesome. And if you've tuned into the egg again and you're here at the 14+ minute mark, thank you. I really appreciate it that you're here with me, and I've got more stuff coming. Bye-bye.